Ken Hornberger is Grants Director at Ranken Technical College in the St. Louis area.
That's correct.
All right, sir. Welcome. Thank you for being here today.
Thanks, Rod. Glad to be here.
Now, have you been to the GPA conference before?
Last year was my first year.
Okay, and you're back for more?
That's right.
What do you get out of this?
You know, I'm 65 and I still learn. Matter of fact, I learn from a lot of young people nowadays. You know,
Okay.
different techniques that I didn't think about years ago. And that's a great thing about a gathering like this. You know, you can share ideas, and it's not only things that work, but sometimes it's things that don't work.
Yep.
You know, and I've learned from experience. If I can learn about things that don't work, I'm ahead of the game.
I'll take notes
Quite
on that all
frankly.
day, huh?
Yeah, you're right.
Yeah, how about
But
that?
a wonderful, stimulating environment. I teach too, also. I teach grant writing, on the college level in St. Louis, and I walk away from here with at least a dozen good ideas.
Oh, that's fantastic.
Every year.
Yeah.
And hopefully I can share some of my experience with people here too. Not only in the formal sessions, but sometimes you learn a lot informally when you're sitting down and talking after a session. I learned a lot from a lot of mentors when I was young, and I think it's part of my duty too to share the good things and the bad things that I've experienced throughout my career with other people too. Hopefully they won't make the mistakes I did.
Yeah, how about that?
Yeah.
In a few minutes, I'd like to, if we can please, talk about the importance of relationships in private funders and in government funders, because I know that's a subject that you had brought up in a previous conversation prior to this interview here. But before we go there, I got to say that in preparation for this interview, I found your profile on LinkedIn online, and I was absolutely blown away by your career. It's not very often that you meet somebody who's a development executive who lasts as many years as you have. Would you please share where you started?
Well, it's enjoyment. I started working for the Muscular Dystrophy Association, Jerry Lewis's organization with his fellow time. And I was with them for 17 years and then returned to my alma mater, St. Louis U. And I was a major gifts officer. Worked a lot of capital campaigns, and then in my twilight years, I'm a grant writer. I'm the director of grants at this small college, and I see the tremendous results of efforts firsthand, which is great, because it is all about people. We've got budgets to meet, and run into obstacles, but when you can see the benefit that individuals derive from the results of your activities, it's very fulfilling.
Yeah, it sure is, huh?
See, I was a major gifts officer for over 20 years at St. Louis U, and that was mainly dealing with individuals of wealth, and working along with them, involving them, and hopefully, to contribute substantial amounts to the university to begin a new program or continue funding on an existing one, or to provide scholarships. It's amazing. I've taken a lot of those techniques I learned in major gifts fundraising as far as cultivation and involvement with foundation executives and governmental program officers. And essentially you're building relationships with them, relationships of trust, of common values, common purpose, and mission. And it's just transferring those notions we had with individuals. Because you remember, people give money to people. It's not large organizations, And it works admirably, having that type of focus. It's not a get the money and run type of situation that you're getting it from this large foundation in the sky or governmental agency. No, you're establishing relationships and trust with people. They have confidence in you and the mission of your organization, and they're willing to invest more if you take the time to provide proper stewardship, showing them that you're a good steward of their money that they've given you to enact a program, and it really works.
I've met so many grant writers all over the country over the years who tend to be isolationists. They don't have that major gifts background where they're working with major donors and they're dealing with those relationships. Excuse me. And the idea of cultivating a relationship when I'm working for a small school district, perhaps in Texas, with a major program officer at the Department of Education just seems unattainable. And it seems like those people at the Ford Foundation are just untouchable. How do we break through? What's the mindset shift that helps somebody get over that hump, feeling like it's just little old me and it's a big old world?
It's mental attitude.
It is.
It really is. You're not a huckster, you're not a salesman, but you have a message and a firm conviction that you have a good mission. And I think most of them are pretty receptive. They'll listen to you, but in turn, you have to listen to them too. Because they have goals that they want to achieve too. And sometimes you're lucky when they mesh together and fit. You're not successful all the time.
So it is a two-way street. One of they're of course helping you meet the needs of the greater good that you serve.
Yeah.
But you're also helping them meet their giving goals.
Yeah. And one of the greatest things I find out, ask somebody for their advice. You know, that's so important because they'll share with you what their convictions are and what their experiences are. You know, and it's always helpful. Success for anyone in the grants business or major gifts officer or in development is the ability to listen. And I learned that from a Jesuit priest, you know, probably 25, 30 years ago, you know. He taught me that value of being able to listen to what other people have to say. He taught me it's not all about me, you know, it's about them and what they want, you know, and what goals they want to achieve. You know, that's important to remember.
Have you noticed, as one of our previous guests on an interview here noted, that it seems like younger people today, younger grants professionals, are coming into this with intent, whereas so many of us seem to have become accidental grant professionals.
Well, we fell into it.
We just fell into it because we're the guy that could type a sentence or edit a paragraph. What would you say to those young people now who are getting focused on development work as a professional path? There's maybe some associations to look into or ways to enhance their skills and character.
Well, number one, you'll never get rich in a monetary way, but you'll get rich in a myriad of other ways too. But again, I think listening is an important skill that you can learn from other people, you know, what they have to say. Of course, I'm a firm believer in take advantage of all the educational opportunities you have, which such an organization like GPA, you know, et cetera, it really helps. But then also turn around and contribute, because you do have something to say too that'll benefit other people. I keep wanting to run into people who've got new innovative ideas.
Right.
And if they're going to come from any place, they're going to come from this new generation, not from people like me.
It's a real honor to be able to spend some time with you. Do you have any final thoughts that you'd like to share? Anything comes to mind?
No, just I thank you for the opportunity.
I could talk to you all night. But
Oh yeah.
all right.
You're going to find out us older guys, you know, we've got some stories to tell.
I am not that far behind you, sir. Mr. Kent Hornberger, thank you very much.
Thank
you
Rod.
for taking the time.
You
Thank
bet.